Hello, my name is Nathaniel Euland. I'm from Block 2. Today we'll be talking about the loss of bees. Bef- but before we get into it, sorry that I'm doing it this way. Educurations wasn't working for me, so I just made a presentation and I'm taking it on video. So let's get into it. If the thing would go. Well, what's happening to honeybees? And why are they, disappearing? Well, over the last 15 years, bee colonies have been disappearing to a phenomenon known as uh, colony collapse disorder. And in some regions, it has affected up to 90% of honeybees between October 1st, 2018 and April 1st, 2019. About 37.7% of honeybee population declined, which was 7% more than the same time frame in 2017 and 2018's winter. And it it kept declining till it reached 40.7% of that entire year. Over here we have a graph of the camera focus. There we go. And over here we have another one. Okay. And Well, at this point, you must be wondering, how bad is it? What are the symptoms? What is it? Where is this occurring and why is it occurring? Questions, questions, questions that I can answer, hopefully, correctly, with the research I did. Um, Colony collapse disorder is when the worker bees in a colony disappear and leave behind the queen and a few nurse bees to care for the immature bees, which leading researchers believe to be the cause of this viral mite. A viral mite is an external parasite, mites that feed on the honeybees. Uh, Sorry if I get these wrong. Apias cerana and Apias mellifera. And they're in these little catacombs where the honey would be, and that's where they come from. And then they would hold on to the bees. Okay, move on. Where has it occurred? Well, it has occurred in North America, Europe, countries especially Southern and Western Europe, the Northern Ireland Assembly, some Asian and African countries as well. I couldn't pull up any images from Northern Ireland Assembly and Asian or African countries, but that's what my research told me, and that's basically what I got. And here are the areas in some of the countries that I mentioned. As you can see, a lot of the US has been taken back by this. And this is Europe, where we also said it was taken back from. Why is it occurring? Leading scientists think it's because of these reasons, which include increased loss due to invasion viral mite, which is the cause, or at least they think so. New or emerging diseases such as Israel acute paralysis. I'm messing up these words. Virus and the gut parasite Nosma. Um, Pesticide poisoning through exposure to pestis- pesticides applied to crops or from in hive insects or mite control, where basically people would put pesticides to kill like the actual virus, like the viromite. And stress bees experienced due to managing practices such as transport to multiple locations across the country to provide pollination services, and changes to habitation where bees foraged, and then inadequate forage, poor nutrition. Basically, we're like taking too much of their honey and stuff, and potential immune suppressed stress on bees caused by one or a combination of factor identified above, which is basically meaning that some of these are multiple and stuff. Like they multiply. There we go. That's better. Now you must be asking questions like why do I like who is it affecting, how is it affecting them, like in society, what does the future look like for those people and what it has affected. And well, first I'll have to tell you what a keystone species is in order to tell you those, because they're kind of linked. A keystone species is an animal. There we go. I keep moving the camera by accident. My bad. Is an animal which its ecosystem that it lives in depends on it, and if it were to be removed, it would change drastically. Honeybees are a keystone species, and since they are pollinators, they tend to be in most of them. The ones they mostly affect in human life or society are the beekeepers and farmers that need them to pollinate their crops. Without them, they don't have crops to sell or honey to sell, and leave them sorry, keep moving it. Focus on this one then. Work or little work. What are your favorite? My question is, what are your favorite fruits or vegetables? Because I can bet it probably needs pollination from honeybees. You like almonds? Those need pollination. Apples, melons, cranberry, asparagus, broccoli. I can name a few of them because, well, I researched it, and it took a while. And then we can move on. Oh, my picture is in the way. That was a question mark. Anyways, what animals does it affect? Many animals are supported by bees, such as bears, deers, and not only big animals, but critters too. Uh, like birds, raccoons, possums, and insects that raid beehives for taste of nutritious honey. Here are some birds that you can't see their names, but those are some birds that raid. They help out deer when they usually pollinate like leaves and stuff in order to grow more, so that's how they help. And bears feed off of the deer or the animal that eats those plants. And then possums are just, they're mean. They raid them. They raid them for the honey. And and obviously, as you can tell, bees aren't just for commercial farming. They're for other ecosystems too. And those ecosystems are affected by them dying and stuff. Not being there. Where's currently being done? The government and the USDA and the EPA are participants in the planned colony collapse disorder, and their process of dealing with it is survey, data collect to determine the extent of CCD and the current status of honeybee pollination production and health, analyzing of bee samples to determine the prevalence of various pests and pathogens, bee immunity, and stress and exposure to pesticides, which means just mandate them, put them low or try to use them less, and hypothesize. Driven researchers on 4 candidate factors include news and ravaging pathogens, bee pests, environmental and nutritional stress, and pesticides, and obviously mitigating and preventive measures to improve bee health and to counter mortality factors. How can we help as a society, as people? We could find, well, in my idea, we could find a way to mandate certain pathogens, which we're already doing, but I would probably do it a little bit more. are ways to control parasite problems without using chemicals, which basically goes back to the first one, which is mandating certain pathogens, and improving beekeeping because we still don't have as great as beekeeping as we should for the animal that we use. Why we should take action and why should you care, because some people might not, is because ecosystems are in grave danger, and you might think that it doesn't involve us as a society, as people, but it all does because our fruit and vegetables and other resources come from nature, and we should protect our resources and stuff that are invaluable for us. So, thank you. Have a nice day.